sheet in or actually on the thing
Yeah,
itself.
so to get with it. No, next to you.
Sorry, technical.
The road is closed in Housebound, which might explain why Councillor Hart is still.
Is it still shut? The street is closed.
Yes, please, thank you. I've been in shock since Friday.
Sorry, there's been a technical issue.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone for the Sandwich Town Council Planning Committee meeting for November. Item 1, apologies received.
We received apologies from Councillor Morehouse and Councillor Mann.
Item 2, declarations of interest. To receive any declaration of disclosed pecuniary interest from members in respect of business we transacted on this agenda.
Well, after you, sir.
It's not a pecuniary interest, but I know Mr. Christopher Trillo, who lives at 31 Fisher Street, and that applies to planning applications 24//01078 and 24//01079.
Oh yeah, sorry, item number 5K, 24/00696 Sandwich Technology School, as I'm a senior governor.
I also know Mr. Trillo, as per Councillor Fortescue. Not well. It's not pecuniary interest, though, either. I'm just very checking. I just know it. Thanks for declaring that. Okay. Item 3, minutes of the Planning Committee. To approve the minutes of the Planning Committee held on Monday the 14th of October 2024 and to consider any matters arising from those minutes not covered elsewhere on this agenda.
Before we start, can I just make an apology that I've actually noticed 2 typos. I've had 2 agendas this week, so I do apologise. I have already amended the date, if councillors are in agreement. It should have said at the top Monday the 14th of October, not Monday the 16th of September. And I admitted on point 10.245, there was one councillor who abstained on application 24//00997, which I forgot to put in. So I've added that in if you're happy in agreement.
We're happy with that?
Propose acceptance with those amendments made by the Assistant Town Clerk.
Happy second.
Yeah, we're all in favour, aren't we? Yeah. Item 4, public participation. A 20-minute session is set aside for members of the public to make representations at the meeting in respect of the business on the agenda. Individual representation should not exceed 5 minutes. Written notice of the desire to exercise the right to speak together with the topic to be addressed must be given to the town clerk at least 4 hours in advance of the meeting.
We have had one request to speak. Mr. Hensley has kindly agreed to speak on behalf of this resident, and it's regarding the Fisher.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I'm speaking this evening on behalf of Mr. and Mrs. Nick Harper, who are objecting to planning applications 24/01078 and 24/01079, 31 Fisher Street, conversion of outbuilding to form an office. Good evening. My name is Nick Harper, and I live at 13 Church Street, St Clements, where my garden backs onto and shares an historic old Dutch brick and flint party wall with number 31 Fisher Street. The planning applications relate to a narrow lean-to-like building at the end of number 31's garden. Just over 6 feet high on the boundary wall with St Clement's churchyard, it has a 22-degree sloping roof rising to approximately 8 feet, which is also supported by two shared old garden walls with 29 Fisher Street and 13 Church Street, St Clement's respectively. It was common practice to have a privy in the back garden of these cottages, and it seems likely that this outbuilding would have provided cover for an effective and indoor loo and storage space for wood or coal. The windows are not original and have been chopped into the old brickwork at some stage, long after its original construction. I have referred to the English Heritage House Guidance and Knowledge Base regarding Grade 2 listed properties, which quotes, "Any buildings or structures within the curtilage of a listed building are to be treated as part of the listed property." This outbuilding, contained within the garden of a listed property and resting on the walls of two other listed properties, is undeniably Grade 2 listed. The applicant is suggesting the outbuilding was once a bakery or brewery with a higher original roof that was inexplicably lowered. He now wishes to restore the higher roof and extend the building in height and depth to form a habitable space for use as an office. There is no evidence whatsoever that this low, narrow outbuilding was ever a brewery or a bakery, nor any evidence that the original sloped roof has been lowered. These new proposals will entail extending the building's footprint by removing original fabric and replacing it with a new wall, as well as a new, higher, heavier and wider, pitched instead of sloped roof over 10.5 feet high. How this larger, heavier structure will be supported on the historic and fragile flint and Dutch brink garden wall at number 13 Church Street, St Clement's, and how it will knit into the existing party wall shared with number 29 Fisher Street is not clear. No drawings or structural engineers' calculations have been included in the applications. The requested proposals are clearly material changes to the scale, layout and appearance of the existing structure. These material changes are contrary to the design principles as set out by English Heritage. Scale, layout and appearance will all be adversely affected. The outbuilding is currently within the curtilage of a Grade 2 listed terraced cottage on Fisher Street. It is proportionate to its setting at the end of a small garden on the edge of a Grade 1 listed churchyard. With the new 10.5 foot high roof, removal of original fabric, addition of new building works and a combined massing across a 40-foot boundary wall with the churchyard, these proposed changes to a simple garden outbuilding will adversely impact on its original setting and appearance, entirely out of proportion with the Grade 2 vernacular. The view from the churchyard will be dramatically altered, with a new disproportionately high building blocking out the panorama of historic cottage roofscapes on Fisher Street and Church Street, St Clement's. And this new constructed office space will loom large right across the width of number 13's garden and right on top of our living room, which is the main amenity of our house, encroaching on our view of the skyline and blocking out daylight. As a working office, it will be some 15 feet away, and light and noise pollution are also likely to have an impact on my wife and myself. I'd like to conclude by reminding us that the most significant planning director regarding any listed building is to preserve and enhance. Simple repairs to the old brickwork with lime and mortar repointing and reinstating the existing sloping roof with slate will preserve, enhance and restore the original outbuilding for its original purposes, shelter and storage. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt. Item 5, planning applications. Application plans and papers can be viewed via the Dover District Council website. Item A, planning application reference number 24/00972. Proposal, works to external side elevation, timber frame repairs, removal of cement plinth, removal of paint from and repainting window joinery and walls, brickwork repairs and replacement of rainwater goods, internal work to dining room, replacement of existing breeze block wall, replacement of beams above window lintels, installation of timber beam bracket, reinstating of lather plaster ceiling, location St Paul's House, 60 High Street, Sandwich, CT 13, 9EQ.
Yeah, it's very good to see that this property is being refurbished
Yeah.
and the materials that are being used are the original type of materials. So I would like to propose that we support this application strongly to return it back to its original status.
Thank you, Chair. I think this was the building that was damaged by a vehicle about 2 years ago. A car went into it. It was on that corner by Short Street. It's that.
It's the old pub, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's directly opposite St Clement's Church.
That's it, yeah.
Isn't there?
And there was an accident where a car went into the outside wall. So I second Ms Mayor's proposal.
Okay, any other comments? No? All in favour? Oh,
Yeah, all I was going to say that the materials used are sympathetic and recognise the age of the property, so taking it back to more traditional methods and also materials, I think, should be supported.
perhaps I should have declared it one of my favourite old pubs to be closed in 1982. So. Anyway, all in favour of this? I think unanimous, thank you. Item B, planning application reference number 24/00772, proposal erection of stable blocks associated alteration to hard standing, access ways and landscape, existing building and stable block to be demolished, location Great Polder Equestrian Centre, Great Polder Farm, Sandwich. So this used to be old tractor shed, so they tied them up there, they wanted to actually replace them.
Sorry, just before you discuss, to let you know, I did ask Dover District Council, as this has been spoken about before, and they say this application has been re-advertised in order to display the site notice to more appropriate location. No amendments to the scheme have been made.
Yeah, on the 12th of August, Sandwich Town Council supported this planning application, so without wasting a lot of time and energy, I'd like to propose that we continue to support it. Hopefully it'll bring more work placements and more to the economy and to the leisure industry in Sandwich.
Councillor Wallace? Yeah.
Yeah, it's, we have discussed it before. It does seem quite a big development, but it is tucked away from site in most cases.
Yeah.
There have been some comments from ecology and sewage since our discussion, so obviously they'll take their course.
Yeah, very
Or not.
Yeah, just they're knocking some down 1950s tractor shed that they've used, just putting up something nice and modern.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we don't need to vote on it, I don't think, because we've already lodged our comments, so we can move on to the next item.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Okay. Nice down. Item C, planning application reference number 24/01114, proposal formation of vehicular access and parking, location Schoolhouse Nursery, Sandwich, Kent, CT 13 9HT.
So, I know there's been some comments of why this is a separate application and why it's not an appeal against a decision, but when I've looked through the paperwork, the history of the application that we originally looked at, which was 23/00710, was that it included off-street parking and vehicular access, but that was withdrawn before DDC made a decision. So there isn't, an appeal wouldn't be the right route. What they've done is they've submitted a separate application for an element that they previously took out of the previous application. But I don't think anything has changed. So KCC, both in the pre-application plus also in the previous application, were very clear about the issues that off-road parking presented, and that was that the school road is narrow, vehicles entering and leaving, there will be issues about possibly having to turn onto the pavement, and also the fact that the removing the dividing wall will also restrict the view when exiting onto the road. So it's very clear there were 2 parking spaces that would be lost as a result as well. So all of that rolled up into KCC's view. And at the time of the previous application, certainly a number of us took an interest in the application, and we were very much on on the same page in terms of KCC views. So my personal view is we should be objecting to it.
Yep, I agree.
Totally different. Totally different, because they've got a car that's an extra car on Narrow Street, and I was down there Thursday.
It's very clear.
And there's a car parked right on the corner, Paradise Road,
Yes.
School Road, and a big Mercedes went right up on the pavement, right by people's houses. They'd have
Yeah.
stepped out there. I think that we should look at that, yeah, lovely, but I'm in favour of it, but then okay, we go with the majority. So we've got proposal and a seconder.
Strongly object.
Yes. So all those in favour strongly rejecting the application.
Sorry, we've got a mix of
Yeah,
cards,
that's
just
right.
to make sure, when,
Yes.
are you agreeing for, agreeing with the objection?
I propose that we strongly object to this.
And
Yeah,
then
and I'll
it's
sec-
green if you
and
agree
I'll
with that
second that.
statement. Right, okay, thank you, so I just wanted to check.
Yeah, I think that's passed. Strongly object. Okay. Item D, planning application reference 24/01034, proposal installation of 12 solar panels to front and rear roof slopes, location 26 Whitefriars Meadows, Sandwich CT 39. That's your previous one as well, isn't
Have we had this one before?
it? Yeah, I was just asking you earlier.
Yeah, because it seems familiar, because particularly from
I think
the,
the object-
It's a 1034, so we haven't, as in when their numbering system, I've been back through, I've made a list now,
That's
so
a
we
new
can go
number.
back.
Yeah,
That's
That's a
new.
new number.
It's a new one. Okay.
I didn't see any change to it at all. But yeah, I'm not very happy with this application, although solar power is beneficial in some areas, particularly out of town or industrial areas, what have you like that. It's a shame to have it within sight of the conservation area. So I would have preferred the application perhaps just have them on the back of it, but having it on the front, it takes something off of the ambience
I
of
think
the
there's another house that's done it with a planning commission, isn't it? So that's why it's a bit.
Yes, so I'm going to have to disagree with you,
Oh,
unfortunately.
no
So,
problem.
whilst the property is within the conservation area, I recognise that. It's a modern estate, and then you could argue, why was the estate ever allowed to be built? It was. There is one other property that's already got solar panels. The doctor's surgery nearby has got panels, and I think as a council, I'd be arguing we should be supporting tackling climate change. I don't think it will impact sufficiently to be voting against it from my perspective. I would support it.
Yeah, I know we looked at one of these before, and I don't know if, I know we objected to it, I don't know if it was granted by DDC, but I think my view has changed on this slightly, because although it is a conservation area, we have a climate emergency declared. This estate, frankly, should never have been built there. Nothing we can do about that. But it could be a suburban estate anywhere in the country almost. So it doesn't have any particular aesthetic quality. So on balance, I think I would support the proposal.
Yes, I agree. I think that to argue that the panels could only be on the back of the roof doesn't take account of the fact that we can't change where the sun goes. So solar panels,
That's the next one.
you have to put the panels where they get the sunshine. But secondly, I do support the argument this is a modern estate. I think we have to get used to the idea of solar panels. I think they will become more aesthetically acceptable in future maybe, but I wouldn't want to block someone using them, so I would support it.
Oh, could I just, sorry Mr Chairman, come back? For those of us that have been here for a very long time, I can explain the reason for what I said earlier. Actually, my explanation is, as Councillor Franklin and Councillor Marie will know, there was a similar thing with the Ainsley Cork in Strand Street, and somebody applied for double glazed windows there 25 years ago, and it was granted because it's a modern development in a conservation area. it was double glazing was granted on Ainsley Court, and the proliferation of UPVC double glazing within the conservation area has gone unchecked by DDC, because of course once you allow something in one area, such as Ainsley Court or Whitefriars Meadow, of course you can't then come back when another 6, 8 or 10 people say we want the same thing. So that's the only reason I'm just being very apprehensive that we don't suddenly, and of course all of us in this room all know about in the 1980s something called a satellite dish, or at least I guess we're all old enough to know about those. And satellite dishes were the same thing. We had a start of satellite dishes in the conservation area, and quite luckily DDC did clamp down on those. But basically I'm just saying, I've been here before and I've seen it all, and I'm just sort of like preempting what's to come. So
the only one with the satellite dish was the little sweet shop in King Street, you know, general store, and got a flat roof, and he put for the lottery. So he granted that. Then someone at the back, when the leaves fell off in the wind, said, "Oh, I can see the satellite dish." It's too late. Okay, was there any more, Councillor?
Does Sean Hennessy?
Unfortunately in Whitefriars I've already got solar panels on one of the roofs, which are clearly visible as you're walking along the ramparts.
Yeah.
And I think this is just going to be a domino thing, and one after another people are going to start to put them up. And whilst there's a benefit, I must admit it doesn't look very aesthetic with the red pantile roofs throughout, and then suddenly this black shiny thing stuck in the middle of it. But however, the world moves on.
Oh, we get his weather forecast.
As somebody's already got them installed, it's very, very difficult now to row back as.
We would propose that.
I'm happy to propose it.
Do you have a seconder? Councillor Roddick? Or Councillor Penny, you seconded it? All in favour of it? Do two against.
purely the climate controls.
Item E. Planning application record number 24/01078. Proposal, conversion and extension of outbuildings incorporating new raised roof to form home office and ancillary to main house, front elevation, timber clad, rear elevation, existing brickwork painted, location 31 Fish Street, Sandwich.
So I'll just do a start at the 10.
Yeah.
When I looked at the design and heritage statement, I found it really scant. There's very little detail in there. So I'm struggling to actually ascertain what really is proposed. Curtilage is important, so I would suspect it should be listed, even though in this heritage statement it says it isn't listed. So I think that's a question rather than a statement. It will be listed. So for me, I'm not able to support it.
No, I think it should be a self-standing structure anyway. You shouldn't have to rely on boundary walls, but protected walls. So I agree with you. I think.
I recognise that. Sorry. Just to finish. I recognise the need. I think if it is brought up to a better standard, that would be brilliant. But I'm not sure that the right course is being taken.
Yes, very briefly. I think we would welcome a renovation of the structure as it is, but I think increasing the height is questionable, and I think it could be done in a much more sympathetic way.
Not only is the height being increased, Mr. Chairman, but the footprint of the building is very, very much increased. And with regard to conservation, it says several times on the application form that there's no conservation involved. Well, there is. Every outbuilding within the conservation area and all the boundary walls are all subject to conservation. Our neighbour, when we were here about 18 years ago, he got the conservation officer from DDC to come round and have a look at something in his back garden. and he immediately saw the walls that separate our houses, and he went straight back to the car, came back and photographed them all, and he knocked on our doors and said nobody's allowed to touch any of these walls, they're all subject to conservation.
I actually went round and looked at the wall myself, so not a pretty sight really, is it? But it's a, you know, the checklist wall, it's got a rotten old window in it as well, hasn't it? So.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I was just mirroring what has already been said. It's very important. As I said on the earlier application, it's not just a rules and regulation thing. It's an aesthetic thing. So, would you like to come out of the St Clement's Church on your wedding day and see a much higher, larger structure, which you can see, because I've been round there, you would be able to see it from St Clement's Church. So, you know, these things do have an aesthetic to them, and I think the aesthetic should be considered. We're living in a medieval town that's got a large conservation area. We've got to maintain the historic content of this town as much as we can. We're the custodians of this town, so we've got to look after it. So I'm proposing to reject this application.
I'm happy to second that.
All in favour that we reject this application?
You object?
You strongly object, yeah.
Can I just ask whether you've got sufficient information for the objection?
Yes, I think I have, but I can
Oh,
check
I'm
that.
abstaining.
I'm abstaining.
You abstain.
Oh, good, I hope so.
Yes.
The second one is more the same as conservation. Item
These poor people having.
Item F, planning application, reference 24/01/79. Proposed conversion and extension of outbuilding incorporating new raised roof from home office and sewage to main house, front elevation, timber clad, rear elevation, existing brickwork painted, location 31 Fisher Street, Sandwich, CT 1390.
This is the listed building.
This is
There's
building.
one's listed building, because everyone's fine.
Yeah.
So, Mr Chair, I think it would be exactly the same as what we spoke about, so a strong
This is
objection.
more important than the planning bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
All in favour that we reject?
Sorry, is that the same proposal in second?
Indeed.
Okay.
I'm abstaining.
And both.
Same response.
Yeah,
Thank you. Item G, planning application reference 24/01/036, proposal insertion of roof lights to front, side and rear roof slopes, insertion enlargement to front windows, patio doors, bifolds to side and rear, erection of canopy, balcony with glass balustrade and access gate to boundary wall, location Night Riders Street, Sam CT 139ER.
The majority that works on this property, there's interior works, I believe. The Velux windows look very small, Velux windows. I don't know if anybody knows this property. Once again, it is quite close to the church there, but it's behind a very high wall. So I don't believe it will cause any interference with. All the properties in that area from the plan view show that they were all quite far apart, so I don't see it should have any undue influence on any of the other properties. So I'm prepared to say that we support this application.
I'm happy to second that.
Are we all in favour of this application? Do you want to do
No. Chair.
Yeah,
What's
oh,
the
sorry,
last one?
thank you.
So the second one's the same again, it's conservation. So we won't read it all out, we're all in favour. Strongly support it.
Same
The
proposal.
same proposal. Yeah.
And do we have the same?
Yeah, Councillor Pennington, you,
Are you abstaining from that second one as well?
Sorry,
Conservation,
I was
yeah.
abstaining on the vote.
yeah, because one was a planning application, one was a conservation.
I think the second one is slightly different, it's talking about ancillary accommodation.
Oh, I'll do it then, alright. Sorry, I tried, because I was the mayor, so. Okay,
Oh, sorry.
I'll blame it.
Read it out, yeah.
Yeah, H, planning application, reference 24/01/37, proposed insertion of dormer window to garage roof slope and associated work to facilitate
partial conversion of auxiliary accommodation location, Night Riders Street, Sandwich City 139ER. My proposal would continue.
Propose we support.
Yeah.
I'm happy to second.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well done, Councillor Pennington. Okay. Item I, planning application reference 24/01006, proposal installation of floodlighting for tennis court, location Sandwich Tennis Club, Sandwich Down Road, Sandwich City 39JZ.
I was the one that supported the expansion of the tennis club. I think that this town and the younger people and older people deserve decent sporting facilities in this town. We haven't got an awful lot of recreation facilities in this town, and I think that it's very important to have a strong cricket club, which we have got, and also a strong tennis club, which is expected in any town in England. The committee and the chair of the club have always supported and tried to improve the club for the facilities. It's got a very good standing. I noted it's still got 25-year lease left to run. It's the only club in the East Kent League that doesn't have floodlighting, and I think I'm not usually in favour of floodlighting, but I think in this case I think it would expand the amount of time, particularly in the winter months, indeed, for people who are learning tennis or want to play a game of tennis to get in there. It does seem a bit overwhelming. Perhaps they got their entire membership. I counted 30 people supporting this application, only 2 against. But I think as it said in the application, if the lights won't be on if nobody's using it, and if there is a curfew that the lights have to go off at 9:30, then that is the curfew, and we can make sure that that is maintained via Dover District Council or ourselves. So I'll be very happy to propose that we support this application for the floodlighting for the tennis courts.
Councillor Wells, do you?
Yeah, I agree. They seem to have done a good job of ensuring that the lighting doesn't spread too far, and they've done an excellent job of garnering their supporters to support the application.
Councillor Super.
I'm really slightly at odds. The word said, completely agree with the benefit to the community in terms of having sporting facilities and what that means in health, social and all other aspects, and that's great. But I think what we need to do is balance it against any light nuisance for neighbouring properties, and there is one property that actually borders directly on one of the tennis courts, and that's Spindrift, I think is the name of the property. When I looked at the technical drawings that were included, they are not understandable, and if anybody around here can understand those, I'll listen to them. But what it said to me as a layperson was there is light nuisance towards that property. So whilst I'm happy to support it, I think we should be flagging up a concern around the impact on the neighbouring property, and that is properly assessed by DDC when they look at this. Because yes, whilst 30 people might support it, if one person's life is made very difficult, we should really be making sure that that's addressed.
Okay. Councillor Pennington.
Yeah, I'd like to support the comments made by the Mayor. I think it is important that we help the tennis club. I didn't see, I haven't been around there in the last few days, but from what I remember of Sandown Road, it could neatly be kept within the area of the club and not cause too much light outside. So I would support it.
I have to second Mr. Mayor if Mr. Mayor's was a proposal. I'm happy to second it.
Can I ask that a comment is made? Because actually picking up on that point, there are 3 lights at the front facing inwards, 3 lights at the back facing outwards. The property is on the right hand side as you look at them, so that property will be impacted.
They might need a screen or something like.
Yeah.
A lot of on
Yeah.
that
Yeah. I mean, there's always
Yeah.
many methods, the right sort of lighting being used. Maybe 9:30 is too late. Maybe it's slightly. There's all sorts of considerations. I would just ask DDC to look at those seriously.
Yeah, the lights are directional,
Yes.
so even when they've been installed, there will be the availability to adjust them once they've been installed.
Yeah.
So if there is any, overshine or glare into another property nearby, then that could be adjusted afterwards. So.
That's all right.
Right, so could we support the proposal but ask the planning officers to make sure that they mitigate any adverse impact on residents,
Yeah.
either through screening or
Yeah.
the lighting itself or through a curfew
Yeah.
on the timings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they have already put curfew on there,
Yeah.
so you either accept that curfew or we throw it out.
No, I think
No,
we
you
can-
can accept it. The DDC planning can look at that curfew and take
Indeed.
it as being reasonable or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, oh yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is at this point in time, there is a curfew
Yes,
set on
there
it.
is.
Colin was saying.
We have the vote then, we all in favour? then?
Yes, right.
Strongly
I'll
supported.
oppose it.
Lovely.
And Councillor Rees.
Item J, planning application reference 24/00258, proposal, variations of conditions 2, approved plans, 3, method statement, 5, ecological design and management strategy, 6, construction environmental management plan, and 11, SUDS of Planning Commission 22/00705 for the installation of electrical battery storage facility, including installation of UKPN connection area and equipment, ground raising, landscaping and associated work to allow amendments and wording of conditions, location, Richborough Energy Park, Sandwich Road, CT 139L. That'd be our power station, isn't it?
Just to say,
That's,
Councillor Duca asked for some clarification as this had been something you commented on before, and the response was that there was a new amended elevation plan received and this was uploaded, and that's why it's come back.
Yeah, that definitely changes.
That's it. Yeah, I was going to say, I would support this. I don't believe that there's any issues or concerns about this in it where it is located. And even Minster Parish Council, I don't know if anybody read their notes, the only issues they had were to do with battery flash fires, which obviously the organisation will have to undertake mitigation, whether it be sprinkler systems or something like that.
I think Ash Parish Council said something as well. So we're in favour of this, are we?
So I'd support this application.
Secondly.
Item K, planning application reference 24/00696, proposal, prior approval for the installation of a solar canopy over the parking area, location Sandwich Technology School, Hill Road, Sandwich, CT 130FA.
I'm allowed to speak on it but not vote on it.
I know,
So
I know he's going to say. I find it
Just-
you.
So all I wanted to say was the technology school have always led on ecology and
Wind turbines.
So they've had wind turbine. They've already got existing solar panels on the main building, and so this is just an addition to do that. And obviously, I just wanted to say, obviously, all the schools are under massive financial pressures currently. This council just recently helped Sir Roger Manwood School with their LED lighting, for which we've been gratefully thanked. So this is just another step in the direction to reducing the utility bills for 1,500 pupils. So you imagine having to give that. So all I'll do is applaud the schools, and it's not solar panels. Before anybody says hypocrisy, it's not solar panels within a conservation zone. So.
It's a canopy to your car.
As you can.
It was wrong.
I've
We know where you park your car and everything. Councillor Snooker.
I was just going to say, I'd like to propose that we support it. It's a sensible scheme in the right location.
Yeah, okay. All in favour of this application?
So please note, I'm not
Yes, you will.
voting.
Item L, planning application reference 23/01351, proposal reserved matters application pursuant to outline application, location Car Park E, Innovation Way, Discovery Park, Sands, Kent, CT 139FF.
Again, I just want to say that Councillor Chuka asked for some clarifications. Again, this was an application we have already commented on, and the Devon District Council said that a new amended junction plan was submitted on the 26th of September, and I think actually I have given copies of those images to Councillor Chuka, but I believe they're on the meeting.
Yeah.
It is what it is, as far as I'm concerned.
I personally don't like. I don't like the street plans, and I don't like this amended one. I prefer the original one. If you come from the roundabout by the garage coming to Sandwich to the Ramsgate Road, that left-hand bend, it's quite a blind bend. And traffic is at 50 mile an hour, and they're putting a pedestrian across. I mean, if they have mums with babies or people in wheelchairs, I think it's so dangerous. There's not a long enough sight view. That's everything.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, if it would keep the Lego boxes out of the town, I'm voting for it.
And what's over?
Sorry, can I clarify that?
So obviously it will be for the building, the additional building, the development out there. So I'm quite in favour for keeping any development out of our lovely conservation walls, exactly, and keep the development out there. So I'm all in favour of it. So.
Well, while I might accept the principle that it's better to, if you're going to build houses, it's better to build them
Outside the town.
not in the immediate vicinity of the town. I do think we should nevertheless pay attention to detail and make sure it's a scheme that works.
Yes,
But I'm still not convinced that this is a scheme that works, frankly.
So previously we supported it. I might well have voted either abstaining or against, because I had issues in terms of the impact on the surrounding wildlife, but it was a democratic and a majority vote, and that was entirely fine. What I would like to propose is, as we've only just got this, we should all have the opportunity to look at the amendments, but we actually have submitted our comments already. We have.
Sorry, say that
Would
again.
we possibly defer this to the next one or not?
Well, I can ask, but I can't guarantee, obviously.
I mean, the thing is,
District
they
Council.
need access.
Yeah.
We've looked at an access plan already and we've supported it.
The
This is
first one.
and this is a variation on
Yeah,
access. So
yeah.
I can't. It doesn't feel like it's going to be materially different to change any
It's
opinions. No,
It's not.
it looks very similar to what we.
It's the
proposed
site, just to do with the sight lines.
Yeah.
And just to answer Councillor Pennington, basically from a highways point of view, we can, it will be in the hands of Kent County Council.
Yeah.
We won't have any say on the highways point of view. Kent County Council, if that's not the right display, or it's not the right junction layout, or what have you like that, Kent County Council will throw it out immediately. So there's guidelines on highways layout that Kent County Council have to adopt and keep to, and for this council to discuss highways layouts, it's actually beyond our.
A bit like the bus stop.
Well, personally, I don't trust Kent County Council. I've seen so many kills on roads where they've allowed planning things, and I think we should err on the side of caution. Because I think the little model was a fire engine going around some of the little roads, wasn't it? So, I mean, a lot of the fire engine isn't that big a vehicle, so then furniture wagons are a lot bigger than them.
I do agree with you, Councillor Franklin. I do feel that the sight line down that road is awful, and the 50 mile an hour, especially after the issues we've had over the last couple of months with the drifters going around the roundabouts and stuff late at night. Very dangerous. And also you can see what happened regarding Williamsborough Road when the new buildings were built on Williamsborough Road, and they changed the layout, the floor layout on road layout on that one. So, but as I said, Mr Mayor is quite right. KCC have their own mind, they have their own thing. If they don't like something, they'll just throw it out instantly.
Yeah.
So. I do feel that we should get some more information though regarding this. So I do feel we should defer it. If Councillor Duke is a proposal, I'm more than happy to second it.
Yeah.
I think I seem to remember a few meetings ago that a request was made for a meeting with the planning officers.
Yes.
Has there been any progress on that?
Yes, I was going to say, so I have spoken to them and they are happy, the DVC have said they are happy to meet,
Yeah.
but they do prefer that it is just the representative of the chair of the committee. They weren't as keen to meet everybody, but I have put it back to say, would they be happy to come earlier to our December meeting as a pre-meeting between, but I'm waiting for them to confirm. But
So don't be so. Councillor Rice?
Yeah, I mean, this is reserve matters issue.
Yeah.
It's nothing we can do about the outline permission for
Exactly.
250 homes, whatever it is.
It's all approved.
The
It's all done deal.
the issue is with the access, both National Highways and KCC are saying their questions have been answered effectively, so
Yeah.
there's no further.
There's nothing we can do about it.
if you
So I suggest we just
you
move
can
on.
say no
I
comment.
mean, yes, I was about to say, if you can just stay silent, the council can agree to stay
Yeah.
silent, don't say a word.
I'd like to propose that we just lodge no objection.
Or no comment.
No comment.
No comment.
Yeah.
I'll second
No objection.
I'll second that.
No comment.
No comment. Yeah, I mean, it's like the new Dover road information, people called it out Haythorn one, then they shut that little bit off. I don't trust Kent County Council at all, sorry. So anyway, no comment, okay. Item M, planning application reference 24/01128, proposed erection of single-storey rear extension and door to front elevation replaced with a window. Location 9 Pins, 25 Baldwin Street, Sam, CT 39E1.
Well, the proposal will spoil the symmetry of the two buildings, because as fellow councillors I'm sure are aware, the two buildings are identical.
Exactly, yeah.
And if a door becomes a window, it's going to look a bit odd.
Yes.
From
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, yeah.
Yeah, just a door window, the front elevation and
It is, yeah. I was going to say the same as Councillor Fortescue, definitely against the door changing into a window. Those properties were built in that manner to reflect and be symmetrical. And in fact, to tell you the truth, I find the whole, although it's a single story extension, find it massive overdevelopment of the site really. So.
Yeah, I agree, the symmetry is affected at the front,
Yeah.
but I have to say I found these plans most confusing to try and understand exactly what was being proposed.
Yes, I agree.
You know, we've had very good applications at this committee. This is not a good application, and I think we should make a comment that we're not happy with the clarity of the proposals, because whenever I see plans that are hard to understand, I'm always suspicious.
And I think just really leading off of that comment is that within the plans themselves, there's a new garden room identified, but I can't see that included in the application, so I'm confused.
It's at the end by the Wall Church Hall.
Separate building at the end.
Yeah, separate building.
Well, I had a look at this and I was as confused as everybody else really. I couldn't understand what they were going to do there. So obviously those two houses I think were built, that's where the original bowling green was for Bowling Street. That when that was disused they set back from the road and they are quite a nice little pair of houses really. And again the back garden will be going down to the churchyard wall of St Mary the Virgin, which is and it's behind number 59 Strand Street. We're having all the different work done at the moment.
The main objection is spoiling the symmetry of the pair of cottages, isn't it really?
It is.
And the window instead of a door.
Yeah.
Yes, well, I agree, you know, houses are for living in, and I think it's important that people can find houses to suit their requirements. If they have a house in an area like the centre of Sandwich, they have to realise that aesthetics is part of the deal, and So I would sympathise with those who said that the replacement of the front door is not.
Yeah, I think it belonged to the house on the corner was the pub, wasn't it, or the inn?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're strongly objecting to this. I think,
So you're proposing Councillor
Councillor Hughes, yeah.
and who was seconding?
Well, yeah, I'm happy to.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you know,
I don't mind, yeah.
well, all in favour that we strongly object to this. Thank you. Item 6, withdrawn applications. To receive and note the withdrawal of planning applications. A, planning application reference 24/00812. Proposal Crown Lift to provide 3 metres clearance above adjacent garages and crown them overhanging canopy by a maximum of 30% on Beach Street, the subject of tree preservation order number 6 of 1967, location Haven House, Harnett Street, Sandwich.
So just to make you aware, you haven't actually seen this application because it came in and was withdrawn before it got to planning committee this evening, but I don't have a reason for.
Says it's a due.
Withdrawn application 05.
Oh, in fact, that was the one we did know, apologies. It
Yeah.
was withdrawn because it was a duplicate.
Yeah, okay, thank you. B, planning application reference 24/00608, proposal creation of a junction to provide access location. Junction on Monks Way, Discovery Park, Sandwich, CT 139MD is withdrawn.
Would you, I did ask for some clarification on this, we discussed earlier and you asked. The reason that the applicant originally made the application 24/00608 was to seek to address this delay by making a new application for the junction.
Yeah.
However, condition 3 of 21/00047 has now been discharged and the applicant still therefore has time to lawfully commence 21/0/0047. This is why 24/00608 has been withdrawn. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If they're now relying on the approval from the application that was lodged in 2021, it means that we can expect to see some action on the ground by the middle of February,
Yeah,
because that's when it
I think
expires.
part of that bit we've been discussing earlier.
Yeah.
To do with Monks Way. Okay, thank you. Item 7, planning decision. To receive and note latest decisions taken by Dover District Council on new planning applications. Does anyone want to comment rather than read it all out?
No.
Propose noting the decision.
2 John's Green.
2 John's Green, did you want to comment on that?
Well, I know we objected to that, but there were multiple applications for that. I don't know which one that is.
Okay. Item 8, street furniture application. To receive and consider any applications made to DDC in relation to a street furniture consent application under the Local Government Act, Miscellaneous Provisions Act 1982, Local Government Miscellaneous Provision Act 1982, street furniture consent. Please note none to consider at the time of issuing this agenda. Item 9, licensing. To consider any licensing notices and issues received from Dover District Council. Please note none to consider at the time of issuing this agenda. 10, enforcement. To consider any enforcement notices and issues received from Dover District Council. Please note none to consider at the time of issuing this agenda. 11, correspondence. To receive and consider correspondence related to planning matters, including notification of appeals against refusal of planning applications. Dover District Council adoption statement. Dover District Council local plan 2040 attachment 2.
It's a press release regarding the local plan. So.
Exactly, yeah, it's just giving the public the notice of their right to appeal within a set period of time, so I propose that we just note that item.
All we propose is note the report. Okay, thank you. Item 12, verbal update by Dover District Council on matters related to planning.
Unfortunately, as Councillor Morehouse has given his apologies, we don't have an update today.
Okay. Thought we might have had a written one.
I'm afraid not this morning.
Whilst it's driving.
Item 13, date of next planning committee meeting, 9th of December 2024. Oh, thank you everyone.
Last one for this year.
There you go, thank you.
That's okay.